Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Before I get into today's episode, I just want to give a little disclaimer that this is not an educational podcast or even motivational for that matter, or even like advice centered. Nothing about it really has like that much purpose other than like me just telling stories. I guess sometimes it can be a little aspirational. I do like to give advice and tell stories about things that I've learned in my life and that, but like that's not the point. If you do take something from it, that's awesome. And if you did somehow learn something, that's awesome. But I just want to make it really clear that I'm like not trying to educate anyone on anything because sometimes I'm listening to podcasts because my favorite type of podcast to listen to is like a solo female podcast, and some of them can be more like on the educational side. I think just in general, like solo podcasts, since you're just talking with yourself in a room, like, and there's no one to conversate with, it can start just feeling kind of like a speech. So it starts sounding educational and like aspirational because it can't just be like a casual, fun conversation because you're talking with yourself. Which, by the way, I know I briefly mentioned last week that I was considering changing the name of this podcast to Talking to Myself because currently it's called Letting It Out, which I don't even call it that on YouTube anymore because I just like haven't been aligning with it. So I was like, ooh, Talking to Myself is such a good name. Like I'm literally just talking to myself, and then also like not even that many people listen to this. So it's quite literally like I'm talking to myself. I don't know why I thought that was a unique name or original by any means. I looked it up after I was done recording last week, and there's probably like 2,000 podcasts with that name. Obviously. Obviously, anyone that's talking to themselves in a room is probably going to be like, ooh, I should call this Talking to Myself. So I don't know. I don't know why I thought that was original by any means. So just scratch that. We're keeping letting it out for now. The reason I was thinking of that name is because I do talk to myself a lot, like throughout the week in my head. I'm a big inside the head talking to myself, or if there's a word for that, I guess it could be like daydreaming, but it's more just like full on conversations. And that's usually how I come up with my topic for the week because there will be a theme of what my thoughts are for the week that I'm just like really fixating on something. Last episode, it was about basic and just like the whole conversation around calling people basic and boring. And lately, it's been karma. I just feel like all I'm thinking about lately is karma and revenge and thinking like certain people don't deserve what they have and certain other people do deserve things that they don't have. And it's just been like really weighing heavy on me lately. And probably the biggest thing that's been making me think about karma is that there's this song that I've been fixating on. It's like the only song I've even been listening to for maybe the past 1 to 2 months. Like this has been going on for a while and I haven't mentioned it because it's just like my little secret that I'm so obsessed with this song. It's a song that I randomly heard playing maybe in a Brandy Melville because this is like kind of a Brandy vibe or a supermarket. I know I was by myself somewhere shopping and I heard this song like lowly playing in a store and I was like, this song sounds so familiar. So I have this aunt who's from South Dakota. She's like one of the only non-Albanians in my whole family. She's just hardcore American, like 20th generation American from South Dakota, and I grew up with her basically. She like basically raised me when I was younger because my mom hardly knew English. My mom was a teen mom, basically. By the time she had me, she was 20, but my first older sister, she had her as a teen. So my aunt really helped my mom raise us. So she's like a huge figure in my growing up childhood. So I know so many old songs and country songs and old movies and things about that time period only from her. Like no one else in my family ever listened to this stuff, ever watched this stuff. I only know it from her. So I heard this song playing in a store and I was like, oh, this is so a song that I used to hear her play. So I like look up the lyrics on Google to find the name of the song. I see that it's from the 1980s, so I'm like, oh yeah, this was definitely one of her songs. So I download it on Spotify. Next time I'm in the car, it was my most recently downloaded song, so it starts playing. I finish the song, I replay it 10 more times. It was just like that. I just became addicted to it so quickly. It's called Karma Chameleon. If you see karma, yeah, that's what's I think really been leading the conversation in my head about karma because I can't stop listening to the song. I've listened to it probably 300 times in the past month. Like it's certainly going to be my number one song on Spotify this year. And actually, I kind of have like a bad feeling right now that since I'm realizing how much I've listened to it and like speaking about it out loud, that I'm going to be sick of it now. I kind of feel it happening like right now, that suddenly I have no desire to ever listen to it again. Yeah, now I'm kind of sad. So even though I've listened to this song like 1,000 times, I really couldn't put together like what it's about. I know it's called Karma Chameleon, but like, what does that mean? I feel like that's another reason why I'm going to be sick of it now, because I just like did research on it and I feel like I know too much about it now, and like it's not the same. It's not the same anymore. I've ruined it for myself. So according to my research, this song is about, it came out in the 80s. To give you a little context on the lyrics, the lead singer is a man and he was in a secret relationship with his drummer in the band, who was also a man. And because it was the 80s, because this was a same sex relationship, it was really secretive. The drummer in the situation, I guess, was the one that was like more secretive, and no one really knew what was going on here. So the lead singer is calling him a chameleon because he would fake his identity and act like whoever he was around, and like adapt to whatever room he was in, and he was never truly himself. This is what I picked up, by the way. Like, maybe other people have different interpretations of this. So the lyrics of the song are basically the singer calling the drummer a chameleon because he was always faking his real self. And the karma part comes into play because he's saying, if you keep faking everything and not being yourself, eventually it's going to come back around and get exposed. And like, karma's going to get you. I honestly would have never even thought that that's what the song is about, because the lyrics are kind of random. Like, there's just so much going on in it that I didn't even know what it was about. I was just like, I love how it sounds. If you've never heard the song, please go listen to it right now. I don't think I can sing it on YouTube. I know YouTube has so many rules, but I don't know if that's just for monetization purposes, because I'm not monetized anyway. Or maybe like you just can't do that and they'll take the video down. I don't know. But okay, so that was one thing that has had me thinking about the karma. And then another thing, so I feel like this story that I'm about to tell is like a really good example on how my views on revenge have changed a lot throughout the years. So when I was in college, early college, sophomore year, I developed this crush on this guy. It was kind of like a delusional obsession. It wasn't really reciprocated at all. I was just like obsessed with this guy. And my friend, one of my good friends, also had like a delusional crush on another guy at the same time. And this was like our fixation the entire school year. All we talked about were these two guys. We would like go where they were going out. We would talk about them all the time. We were like always waiting for a text from them. Like, they were the biggest thing we had to worry about this entire school year, were just these two guys that we were obsessed with. But the issue was, they just didn't like us back. And now, all these years later, I can understand that. But at the time, we thought that it was just like we were playing a game. We thought they also obviously really liked us, but they were just playing games with us and they're gaslighting us. Which, looking back, like, I don't think that was what was happening. I think they simply were just not interested in us and we were trying to force something. But as time was going on with this crush, we thought they were the worst people alive. We thought they were evil. We thought they were gaslighting us and manipulating us and taking advantage of us. And looking back, like, I really don't think that was the case. I think they simply just didn't like us and like we should have picked up on that. But anyway, we thought they were the worst people alive. And this became like a joke for us for years. We still have been joking about this, like in the past few years, that these guys are going to die alone. We said, like, since they're so terrible, like, they're going to die alone. Their karma for what they did to us is that they're going to die alone. Who would ever want to date them? They don't know how to commit in a relationship. They're gaslighters. They're manipulative. They're evil. Whenever we would see like older celebrity men who have been divorced 3 times and now only date girls that are 30 years younger than them and have never been happy and fulfilled in a relationship ever, we would see that and be like, that's going to be them. Like, we really thought that they deserved to die alone and live a miserable life and never have a happy relationship ever, because they upset us at the time. And this story made me think of karma, because we would always say, like, their karma is that we're going to be like the ones that got away. Their karma is that they're never going to find better than us, that they're never going to be happy. There's even a Cardi B lyric that's like, karma for you is going to be who you end up with. And like, we thought this was bars. We thought that this applied to this situation. So here's the funny part. Recently, both of them are married. Both of them. Me and my girlfriend, neither of us are married. Are we both in happy relationships? Yes, that's not the issue. Do we want them back by any means? No. We're not upset that they're like off the market. We're not jealous. It's just funny. It's honestly quite hilarious that we used to say that they deserve to end up alone and they're terrible people, and now they're in happy relationships and they're married before us. So it's honestly just funny. But I think this is really important to realize, because when you get into fights with people or someone does something to you and you think they're the worst person ever and you like want to get revenge on them, 99% of the time it doesn't mean they're a terrible person. If I think back to times that I did something messed up and I upset someone, I don't think that like truly reflects on my character. I think I was just like in a really weird time of my life. Like some of the things I did when I was in college, I get sick when I think of them because I'm like, who was that? Like that was not me. All of us change so much. Even just who I was last year, I'll see certain things I said or I did. I'm like, ugh, why would I say that? So now when someone does something that I think is rude or messed up, or I take it as like they wronged me, I don't take it as personally as I once did. I used to, like, for sure, I was huge on revenge and karma. I thought that if someone did something to me, I needed to get back at them. And if I couldn't, like, get back to them the same way, I would say, like, karma's gonna get them. Like, they're gonna rue this day. But as I've gotten older, I really have been a lot more forgiving towards people's actions, because I can, like, look back on things I did and I'm like, that wasn't the real me. So if someone does something to me, I'm like, maybe they're just in a weird place right now. Maybe they're going through something. Not all the time. Still, when people do something to me that like I think is really messed up, I will like cut them off completely and I won't give them another chance. So it really depends on like what it is. I just think that's funny because me, how many years ago, like 8 years ago, thought that this guy, because he would leave my texts on read and I would see him with other girls after he like just responded to my text, I thought that he deserved to die alone. Like, no, he didn't. He just didn't like me. Maybe he didn't go about it in the right way and didn't know how to like text me and say like, hey, I'm not interested in you, instead of like maybe leading me on. But I probably wouldn't have known how to properly communicate with someone at 19 years old either. So I've definitely learned how to give people a lot more grace. When I was younger, the second someone did something to me, I immediately needed to get back to them, even if that meant like directly in person. If someone said something to me in person at a bar or shoved me, I immediately felt like I had to lash out on them. Like I think it's the Albanian in me. I'm going to blame this on my dad, because my dad raised us to be ready to fight. I like quite literally, when me and my siblings were younger in middle school, he told us like if a kid in your class says something to you like really bad or like touches you, you don't tell the teacher, you don't keep it to yourself, you don't just tell your friends, you put your hand in a fist. He taught us how to fist up our hands, like the thumb can't be inside because you could break your thumb, and then you're gonna punch them in the nose because the nose will hurt the most. Like this is how my dad raised us. So like no wonder I had such a hot head and was like so ready to immediately get back at people. Luckily I never had to pull that trick on anyone, and I've always been really bad with confrontation. Obviously that's like where the name of this podcast even came from. I've always been really bad with just like telling people what's going on in my head and like how I feel. So I would just act out immediately. I just acted on things so fast because I didn't know how to regulate my emotions at all. So like my immediate reaction was like, I need to get revenge on them, which leads me to the story that really changed my views about revenge. Specifically, this situation actually like fundamentally changed me as a person. So even though it was a really, really hard time in my life, I briefly mentioned this in a previous episode that I had basically an arch nemesis. And I would say the terrorizing lasted for about 3 years. And in those 3 years, I deeply regretted, like, I would have done anything to go back in time and undo what I did to this girl to avoid the 3 years of terrorizing that she was then going to do to me. I don't even want to like really give details because I'm still like so embarrassed and so cringed out by my own actions when I think of this. But to give you a little context, when I first started college freshman year, there was this girl that just had it out for me immediately. Like I didn't even know who she was at first. I just knew that my friends were telling me that she was making posts on her Finsta about me. And like, I've never even met this girl before. And then I went to a formal, like one of those little college formals with a guy. And little did I know, she was also talking to this guy. Mind you, I didn't even know her at this point. We were absolute complete strangers, never spoke to her. And me going to this formal then really amped up her rage towards me. And I forget what it even was that she really did to like tick me off, that I then messaged her ex-boyfriend. Now, let's just end the story there because I don't even want to go back to these days. But let's just say she made me rue that day. She made me rue that day for the next 3 years. She never let me feel peace again while I was in that school. And at the time, I remember just being like so sick and filled with regret. I would have done absolutely anything to go back in time and just avoid her and have never acted on anything and like let her make her Finsta post, let her say this about me, let her do that, and just let it be. Like, I would have done anything. But looking back now, I'm very, very grateful for this situation because it really fundamentally changed me as a person. Like, I used to have so much more rage and anger and act on things so quickly and like not think of the long term results of my actions. And then this happened, and I truly fundamentally changed as a person. Now, when someone does something to me, I've learned, like I was saying before, to just give them grace. Who knows what they're going through? They'll probably also look back on this and be like, oh my God, why did I do that? Why did I say that? I don't need to get involved. If you really truly think someone is a bad person, I do think karma will come into play. I do believe in karma. I know there's like so many different ways that you could interpret karma. I take it as if someone really is a bad, malicious person, their actions and their character will be the reason that they eventually pay the consequences because they're going to keep losing friendships. They're going to keep ruining relationships. They're not going to be welcomed into certain rooms. They're not going to get certain opportunities, and they will see you just thriving. Like, that's the karma that I really believe in. I think the biggest karma is just seeing someone thrive without you. If you're in a relationship and one person was like super evil, the karma for them is that they're going to see you thrive without them and they have to live with regret and guilt for their actions. Really is so dependent on the situation. It's so easy, especially I feel like girls do this a lot. They just immediately like jump on the guy in a situation and they're like, he'll rue this day, and they make it seem like he deserves everything terrible to come for them when like sometimes, obviously, in some cases, the man is really terrible and evil, but in some cases, like the relationship just wasn't a good pair. Like it just wasn't a good match. That doesn't make either person evil or deserve a lifetime of misery or revenge and have their car broken and all of that. Sometimes you just have to accept, like, we just weren't a good match. This can even happen with friendships. Like, two girls can just not clash and it'll keep resulting in fights and feuds between the two of you. But that doesn't really mean that either one of you were evil. Maybe it just like wasn't meant for you guys to work out and you butt heads on too much and like you didn't align on certain topics and you didn't align morally, so then it was causing all this tension. But deep down, like, neither of you really had malicious intent. So I think that's like really important to think about before you act out on someone and like think they deserve revenge. Like, are they truly a bad, terrible, evil person, or deep down are they a good person, just made some like questionable decisions? I used to never think this way. I really only started thinking this way from that situation with this girl because at the time, I would literally call her my arch nemesis. I thought she was like one of the witches from a Disney movie. I thought she was the epitome of an evil, wicked person. I wished the worst upon her. I thought she was the worst person alive. Now looking back, I'm like, she's probably an awesome girl. We would probably be friends. I think just at the time we were both like 19 years old and didn't know how to think logically and just acted on emotion and rage. I think me and her actually have a lot in common, especially at the time that all this happened. Like, we were both We're both huge on revenge and wanted to get back at each other, and it was a dangerous duo for two people that have that mindset to have drama with each other. Now I'm pretty sure she's doing great in life. I don't think she's terrorizing anyone. I don't think she's still a villain. And I'm happy for her. I don't look at her and whatever she's doing now and think like, oh, she doesn't deserve this because she was so bad to me. Maybe like 5 years ago I thought that, but now that I know how to like think logically, I really genuinely don't think she's an evil person. I think that I just triggered something in her that like made her really upset and act out, and she didn't know how to regulate that yet. And I'm sure she probably looks back at some of the things she did to me and said to me and is like, whoa, I was freaking crazy. That was a huge, huge learning experience for me. And I'm really grateful that I'm at a place now that I can understand that even though someone did something so terrible to me, that it doesn't mean they're a terrible person and they don't deserve terrible revenge. I really can't think back to any point in my life, and I've had lots of drama with people and lots of altercations and lots of fights and lots of friendship fallouts and all of that in my young adulthood. And I can't look back at any of those situations or any of those people and say, like, yeah, they're a terrible person. I truly wish them the worst. Karma, I hope, gets them. They don't deserve a life of happiness. I think that everyone does questionable things at certain points in their life, especially when you're younger, and you can grow from that. Which leads me to another story I want to tell, because then later on in my adulthood, like we're talking recent years, when I was living in LA, I had a very close person to me stab me in the back. And now this time, I was an amazing friend to this person. I did nothing to them first. It wasn't like my college story that I like instigated it. This one, I was an amazing friend to this person. And then they just went around and stabbed me in the back. Now I look back at what happened here and I'm so proud of myself. I'm so grateful for Lizzie from 2 years ago that she responded to this situation in the way that she did, because I remember it like it was yesterday when I found out what this girl did. The old me, especially because this is when I started posting on TikTok, it took everything in me. I remember like old me just bubbling up inside saying like, make a post about them, make a post about them. People love drama. I need to expose them. I need to expose them. And I didn't. I never did. And I look back and I'm so grateful that I never did that for so many reasons. One reason that I kind of was thinking about recently, because there was another situation that happened online like a year ago between two girls, and it was honestly a very similar situation. So it really had me thinking about this, because in this online situation, the girl who I guess you could say was wronged by her friend did go online and did expose the story, and it ended up backfiring. It ended up with people loving the other girl more than the girl who like told her truth, because she went about it in a bitter way. I think if she went about it in maybe a different tone, things would have been differently, but she immediately went online and posted about this in the peak of her being upset over it, like when she was full of rage. She took out that camera and she made a video about this situation. And I think because of that, like since she was so bitter and mean in this video, even though like she may have had the right to be really angry about the situation, people took it as like she's the mean girl. Yeah, you deserve this to happen. Like, you seem mean. And then the other girl who like just had this hate video made about her, everyone was sympathizing with her and like treating her as the victim. And like, don't get me wrong, I like both of these girls. This is just like how I'm sure people viewed it. And I remember when this was all going down, I was like, I am so, so happy that I never went online and spoke about what happened in this situation for that reason. And then also now that just like is online forever. There's always going to be this video of you just like being filled with rage and seeming like a really bitter person that doesn't know how to handle things like a mature adult. And it kind of just makes you seem like crazy and bitter, because the falling out between me and this friend was over a boy. And even though it was like over a boy, it was never about the boy, if you know what I mean. It was just the fact that I couldn't believe one of my best friends started seeing the only guy that I ever dated in LA before Chris. The only guy that I introduced her to, she eventually started seeing him. And like okay, I'm not going to give any more detail, but basically that's what happened. And when I look back on this, I can't say it enough how grateful I am that I just killed them with kindness. I never spoke to those two people ever again. I have no idea whatever happened with their relationship. People do sometimes send me them together and stuff, and I'm like, I don't want to see this. Like, please, these people are not in my life anymore. Don't get that little revenge Liz out of me, because if you tempt me in the wrong way, she might come out, and I don't want that to happen. Like, it's already buried. Let's leave it there. Looking back at this situation, even though I was so upset over this situation, like, I was really hurt by this. It was eating me up inside, especially because I wasn't really talking about it, because I was like, I'm going to take the high road. I'm not going to be that person that's just like going around exposing everyone's business. I'm just going to take the high road. Is that how you say that? Like, take the high road? I don't know. And I think that was making it even harder on me, because I was so used to immediately seeking revenge, and like that would give me some satisfaction. I'd be like, okay, now they got what they deserved. So it was so hard for me in this situation that no one knew. No one knew. And it just bothered me so much that she like wasn't getting what she deserved. I just didn't think it was fair that people were thinking that she was a nice person when she wasn't. And now obviously time has passed. Time heals everything, truly. I don't think she's an evil person. I think that she was just manipulated by this man. I think she was just young and naive, and honestly, like, maybe just I valued our friendship more than she did. That's also what I kind of took from this situation, because she was willing to completely ruin our friendship over this guy. And if that's how she felt, if she really felt like this guy was more important to her than I was, then okay, so be it. We don't have to be friends anymore. I know so many girls have probably gone through similar situations that they lost a girlfriend over a guy. And I think the most important thing that you can take from that situation is that this girl is telling you, she's practically telling you to your face. Like, you have to take it as it is, that she likes this guy more than she likes you. She thinks that her future relationship with this guy is more important and more valuable to her than her friendship with you. So what are you going to do? Are you going to start looking crazy and fighting with her? And like, are you trying to save your friendship? Are you trying to get that guy back? I'm sure you're saying no. So what's there to you to get involved? I think the best thing you could do in this situation, which I've learned, is just let it out on this girl, express to her how much you feel hurt by her and how disappointed you are in her, and say, like, this is the end of our friendship, and then move on from there. Going crazy, messaging the guy, making posts about them, messaging their friends, because I've done this stuff. I've messaged friends of friends saying things about people. I've done all the crazy things, and it never benefited me. All of the times that I've ever like acted out of rage and got revenge on someone, I would say like it affected me just as much as it affected them, because now I'm just like filled with all this anxiety, like, oh, what are they going to do since I did this to them? People think I'm crazy now. It never ever benefited me. There was never a time that I like acted out of rage and seeked revenge on someone, and I look back and I'm like, I'm so glad I did that. I'm so glad I got back at them. I only look back at the situations that I reacted maturely and think, I'm so glad that I reacted like that. I'm so glad I didn't do anything crazy. I'm so glad I didn't lash out and I just killed them with kindness. When I think about my situation with the friend, I feel like her karma in that situation is that when people ask her, oh, what happened between the two of you? She either has to lie or she has to say what she did. And when people ask me, I can either choose to be a nice, respectful person and just be like, things didn't work out, or I can tell them the truth. And at least when I tell them the truth, I know that I'm innocent. I know that she did this to me. And I'm like, yeah, and you didn't even know because I just kept it to myself. She either has to lie to people or she has to expose herself. And I think that's her karma. The guy in the situation, I think he was just always a loser, still is a loser, and like that's his karma. I feel like I've mainly been focusing on revenge and not so much karma. When it comes to like real karma, like spiritual karma, if you put out good in the world, you'll get good back. If you put out bad, you'll get bad back. I hope that's real. I hope that's real, because I do have that feeling inside of me still that if someone does something terrible, they do deserve justice. Like if someone commits a heinous crime, I love the fact that they're going to be in jail forever. But I feel even more strongly about karma when it comes to like the good. That if you are truly a good person and do good and treat others with kindness and help others and just put so much good out into the world, that hopefully it'll come back to you. And like the more kindness and light that you spread, that will come back to you. Because honestly, something that I've struggled with the most in my life is just how unfair life is. I just feel like my whole life I've always had this thought that bad people get good things and good people get nothing. Like from what I've witnessed in my real life experiences, it always felt like the worst people have the best things happen to them. Like bad things happen to good people and good things happen to bad people. And something that I've honestly just had to accept as I got older is that life is unfair. I know it's like a really hard pill to swallow, but once you do accept the fact, like life is unfair, bad things will happen to good people and good things will happen to bad people. There's nothing I can do about it. If I keep seeing people who I consider bad people thriving, if I go and try to tear them down, what is that going to do for me? The only thing it's going to do is like hinder good things from happening to me because I'm just so focused on like negativity and trying to bring negativity to this person and try to bring this person down. It's never going to be beneficial to me. Does it feel good sometimes when you see someone who you think is like a really bad person, like something happened to them, they get exposed for something, they lose their job because they did something terrible? Sometimes I do think that we all have that like secret feeling that like we're kind of happy when we see something bad happen to someone we hate or someone that we think is a bad person. If that happens on its own, that's one thing, but it's so important to never try to intervene with karma and with the world and actually try yourself to inflict karma upon this person. If you believe in karma and you really think that they deserve to get justice for whatever they've done, I think that that will happen on its own. They will self destruct eventually. Just don't be the person to try to destruct them because it's gonna hurt you just as much and bring you down just as much. The best thing you could do is just like focus on the good. Only focus on like putting more good out and helping people and being kind to people and being a nice person rather than like trying to get back at the mean people of the world. Because eventually, if you keep focusing on that, you will become the mean person because you're just focusing on negativity all the time. That's why I say I get sick to my stomach when I think of me from like freshman to sophomore year of college. Ugh, my friends know because I'm still friends with a lot of my best friends from college. They know not to speak of this time. Like, I just don't identify with who I was those years. I think I was in just such a new environment because my elementary school, middle school, high school, I grew up in the Bronx, was so different than my college. Very different demographic than my high school and earlier schools had. This was the first time I was exposed to these like snotty girls that have huge egos and kind of have that like personality that you see in the movies, like that like mean girl personality, like they're in a clique. If you're not in the clique, like they're going to be mean to you and you're going to be excluded. This was the first time in my life that I ever experienced those type of girls, and I think I just didn't know how to react to it appropriately, and I just like turned into a different person during those first 2 years until I acclimated and made better friends and all of that. But ugh, when I think of those 2 years, I'm sick to my stomach. And I think that those 2 years of my life are like such a big reason why I'm so forgiving of people now, because I'm like, maybe you're going through now whatever I went through freshman and sophomore year of college, when you're just like a different person and you don't know what's going on. And then you look back at the time of your life and you're like, who was that? So even though I really am like sick and regretful that time in my life, I'm really happy that it did happen because I view people so differently now. Whenever someone does anything to me, I always think like maybe this isn't them. Maybe they're just going through a tough time and they're like not thinking rationally and they don't deserve something terrible to happen to them. They just need to learn from this. They did this thing. The best thing for them now is just to learn from it, never do it again, and maybe fundamentally change as a person the way that I did when I did something questionable. Truly, I can't think of anyone in my entire life that I look at still to this current day And I'm like, I hate them. I hope that they never feel happiness. I can't think of anyone in my entire life that I feel that way towards. And even if there's no one in your personal life that you feel that way towards, I think people have been developing these feelings for like people they don't even know, like celebrities, influencers, people you see online. People have been developing such extreme hate for people they don't even know, and they like want to expose them because they found out that this person said this 10 years ago, or maybe someone they know from high school is now like an influencer, because you see this a lot. Then people try to tear that person down because you're like, oh well, 10 years ago she bullied me, 10 years ago she said this. People that are trying so hard to tear this person down, even if you rightfully think that they deserve to be exposed and like they deserve justice, it's probably affecting their lives just as much, because every day you're waking up and you're just thinking about someone else, and you're waking up full of negativity, you're waking up full of hate, you're just putting hate out into the world. Even if you think this person does deserve it, it's not serving you. It's not doing any good for you. I think that's like one of the most important things that I've learned, and I hope that everyone can learn that. I mean, if everyone were to learn that, we'd probably be in like a perfect world. So if there's anything to take from this episode, one, life is unfair sometimes. And that's like a hard pill to swallow, but you need to swallow it. And once you do swallow that, you focus on what you do currently have and what you can make of it and how you can focus on the good. Two, don't act out on rage. Always, before you do something that you think is risky and you think is crazy, think with yourself before you do it. Is this worth it? Is this going to benefit my life in any way? How is this going to affect me in the long term? If I do this thing to this person that for maybe a day might give me satisfaction that I'm getting back at them, how is this going to play out in the long term? Three, people change. Even if someone did something really bad to you last year, by this year, they may be a different person. Maybe they're not. If they're not, they're still a bad person. That's their karma. So, which leads me into number four, people bring their own karma onto themselves. If someone really is a bad person, it's going to get back at them. Okay, I think I've said everything that I needed to say about karma and revenge. I know I said in the beginning of this episode that this isn't like an educational podcast or motivational or any of that, but I do love giving advice. And I know I may not be qualified for advice because I am in my 20s. And if you're listening to this and you're older than me, you're probably like, what do you know about life? Like, you're so young. Because that's how I feel sometimes when I'm listening to someone who's younger than me, or maybe never even got a proper education, and they're trying to speak in a way that they're like trying to give me advice on life. And I'm like, oh, what do you know about life? Like, you're so young and don't know anything. I don't think everyone's qualified to educate others on certain topics, but I do think that anyone and everyone could give advice, and like it could be meaningful no matter who it's coming from. I know there's this saying that's like, don't take advice from someone that you wouldn't want to trade lives with, but I don't like this quote. I remember when I first heard it, it just bothered me because maybe I'm taking it too personally. I take it as, you don't think this person is valuable enough to listen to what they have to say. I know people use this quote when they're talking about business. They're like, only take advice from someone that had a successful business, not someone that failed their business. Like, you don't want to be like them. You want to be like the successful person, so listen to what they have to say, not the person that failed. But I think you can learn just as much, maybe more, from the person that failed than the person that is super successful. Maybe the person that's super successful just got lucky, and the person that failed a million times has learned so much and grown so much and learned through mistakes and learned through experiences and knows what to do and what not to do now. I would take advice from anyone, but I also just love motivational quotes. If I just open a fortune cookie and it says like, good things take time, I take it so literally, and I'll start thinking of that quote and I'm like, yeah, good things do take time. Like, that fortune cookie was so right. I need to be patient. There was this sign that I would always walk past in LA that said like, relax, you're okay. And even though I saw that sign 100 times, every single time I walked past it, I was like, I am okay. I'm okay. So if there is anything you can learn from me or any advice you can take the advice that I gave in this episode. If you're new here, thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to follow me on TikTok and Instagram. I know that my last episode brought me some new viewers. So if you're new here, hi, welcome. My main platform is on TikTok. That's where I post my daily life and everything. And then I post on here weekly. Okay, that's all I have for this week. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you again next week. Bye.